The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Swizz Sports Show. It's been a minute, been about almost 3-4 months, but we're back. Been a lot of big news, a lot of stuff happening in the Providence College community, as you can see. That's why we're all fired up. The fun glasses are on today. You know, that's a big reason. And my guest today is none other than 1/3 of the host of the esteemed Divine Providence Podcast. If you don't subscribe to that podcast, I will find you. I will find you. Okay, that is a problem. I will find you. Nonetheless, he is one of the greatest people of all time. You can find him at various locations. You know, some have questioned that he's a UConn fan as of late. You know, this is quite a question. But ladies and gentlemen, please give it up. A warm round of applause for none other than Mr. Mac himself.
Tyler, I was going to say thanks for the introduction, but the UConn allegations, man, that one hurts.
Listen, you can't beat them. You can't beat them. And if you can't beat them, join them, right? That's the saying, right?
I guess so, yeah.
You know, but the fun glasses are coming off now. We're time to put serious glasses on. I always stay strapped up with 2 glasses, you know. Always stay with the smart glasses. It's one of the things. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, busy season, Mac, for the Providence College Friars here that we've had. First of all, let's get it right out of the way. The Hodgson era is here, my friend. How do you feel about this? How do you feel about this?
Sharks in the water. Listen, there's very few coaches every hiring cycle that feel like and look like and kind of fit the mold of a home run hire. And, you know, I think Hodgson's been the head coach of Providence for about a month now. And, you know, he fits the bill as far as a home run hire.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of those things that we got to talk about is the recruiting. I mean, he dropped the most legendary recruiting quote we've ever heard when we were at the press conference, which we both attended, and great press conference, first of all. The energy, man. I mean, Mike said it himself. The energy was in that building the moment he walked in. And you can feel there's a sense of urgency again in Friartown, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's, you know, when you think of Providence College basketball, it's that blue-collar, tough identity. You know, you're gonna win with defense and just hard-nosed guys. And it feels like the last 3 years were kind of a step back from that identity, that, you know, what you associate the Providence logo with. And yeah, like I said, in the month that Hodgson's been here, it feels like, you know, you're starting to get that identity back. He's a gritty guy. You know, he's got a chip on his shoulder mentality. He's already bringing in guys that have proven they can get it done on the defensive end. So, yeah, it's refreshing.
Yeah, and one of those guys that I want to talk about here on the defensive end, especially because he just announced his commitment, is the Mountain West All-Defensive Player of the Year, Miles Bird. It is free bird season. And number one, I've already said this. I told you about this, and I kind of posted it on Twitter. We need to get them to play free bird in the amp every game. Just play the solo.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That would be electric. No, Miles Bird is a great defensive player, man. He, you know, I guess is known for his off-ball defense more than anything, kind of jumping passing lanes, denying the ball on, you know, guys without the ball. But his offensive game needs a little bit of work. You know, if you're building around defense, Miles Bird is a hell of a first transfer.
Yeah, and, you know, one thing that we had talked about off camera about, you know, getting Hodgson, because you knew more about him than I did, because you're more into the whole college basketball world. I'm a diehard PC fan, but I'm going to open my explorations and go on an expedition throughout the country of college basketball here. But one thing that you mentioned that I've already started to see with Hodgson is the use of analytics, right? Perfect example, the Ryan Mila news coming back, that Ryan Mila is coming back. He needs to be a 4-year Friar, 100%. We love Ryan Mila in Friartown.
Well said.
But the analytics, you know, like they said that Hodgson analyzed every single shot, if he's better with this hand, if he's better with that hand, how does, effectively his percentages and stuff like that. So I want to kind of get your thoughts on it. And how do you feel about the use of analytics for Hodgson and his staff, and more importantly, in the world of college basketball? Because it's one of those things that's like people feel different about it, if you will, because people think, oh, you should just do it based on how good is this player, how good is that player. But when you break it all down with analytics, it really opens up the field to see what type of players you're getting.
Yeah, I think analytics are a weird thing right now in college basketball. I'm split kind of down the middle on analytics because I think they're used too heavily in the tournament selection process. Your Ken Palm rating, your whatever, your net rating. I think that side of things, it's used a little too heavily. But the way that Brian Hodgson's talked about how they're using analytics in-house, I think can be super productive. He talks about eliminating human error. So, maybe you're like emotionally attached to one guy on the team, and it's just like, no, like if he just puts his head down and keeps working on this, you're going to start to see results where they can now quantify like what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses. Let's identify your weaknesses based on the numbers, and how do we improve that, and then we'll obviously see it translate on the court. um, Brian Hodgson did a media availability, I believe, last week, and just talked about how like the analytics side of things were huge for retaining Ryan Mila. They basically put together a whole presentation, and he crunched the film and said, hey Ryan, here's what you do well, here's what you don't do well. What you do well, we're gonna put you in that role, and what you don't do well, we're gonna work on in practice. We're gonna kind of develop that side of things, so we can kind of get you to be the best player you can be. And I think that's a huge pitch in recruiting. He's talked about how like once they start recruiting a guy and build a relationship with a kid, whether it's high school or a transfer, you can put together a full packet and say, here are your strengths, here are your weaknesses. And I said this on Divine Providence. Sometimes these guys might know a player better than a player knows himself,
Yep.
just because you're eliminating human error. They have all the data points. They track blue collar points as well. So like tip passes, diving on loose balls, making tough plays, blocking shots. Um, and they can quantify that as well. So I think they're taking the analytics to the next step.
Yeah, and one of the other things too, we knew we wanted Ryan Mila back. We also wanted another name back who is pretty much, I would say, 95% not coming back anymore, and that's all Big East freshman first team, Jameer Jones. I know you were big on Jameer Jones, as was I. We both were. We followed him coming out of high school because this dude's highlights were everywhere. And then you heard Providence getting a 4-star for the first time since, I would say, Devin Carter at the time. But man, it was kind of disappointing to hear that he just didn't want to come back. But you said one thing, and I want to quote you on this. Players follow coaches. They don't follow programs. So it's one of those things where, did Hodgson offer Mila before he even offered Jameer? Because now you got to wonder that, because you're hearing all this stuff coming about Jameer, and we already heard that Mila recommitted, right? So it's one of those things where, does Hodgson see something in Mila that he doesn't see specifically in Jameer?
I don't know if it's specifically that. I mean, I think, anyone with a set of eyes would be able to tell you Jameer Jones is a super talented basketball player. Like you just said, we both wanted Jameer to stick around as much as possible. And I think, honestly, Jameer Jones' play style, fast, athletic, hard nose on the defensive end, his play style, I think, fits Hodgson's system more than Mila's does. And that's not to say Mila doesn't fit the system, but Jameer Jones, I think, was made in a lab to play under Brian Hodgson. You would imagine, hey, this is a match made in heaven. Come stick around, have your entire college career be in a Friars uniform. Unfortunately, with the transfer portal and the NIL era, like, it doesn't necessarily always shake out that way. Very rarely are you going to see guys spend their entire college tenure, whether Jameer was going to be here 2 years or 4 years. Very rarely do you see a guy stay at the same school. So, at the end of the day, sometimes it may boil down to money. It may boil down to, I know Missouri is uh, name to look out for landing Jameer Jones, and a big part of that is Tim Fuller, who's I believe the general manager over at Missouri, who used to be on the staff at Providence. So it's a relationship thing. He was the guy who recruited him straight out of high school. It could be
Mhm.
multiple factors, um, but I don't think it's a lack of the coaching staff prioritizing retaining him.
Okay. And another thing too, right, is you can't forget who tried to recruit him to USF. The same guy that recruited Brandon Miller to Alabama, which most people don't realize. So, I know there was a post about it on Twitter that the asking price that Jameer wanted was $2.5 million, 2.5, which sure, he's a great player, but I'm not going out of my way to pay him 2.5 million to keep him. I don't think anybody is. I think that's an insane amount. I think maybe 1.5 is a more realistic number for Jameer, but I don't know, man. I wish he would stay because I feel like Lob City with Miles Bird and Jameer would be like insane to watch. But we also got another name to talk about. But before we talk about how the Friars shocked the world, I want to go back to the defensive side because when we got both invited to the press conference because it was open to the public, I got the chance to actually ask Brian Hodgson a question about the defense. And here's what he had to say about that. We're going to roll this clip right now. Question over here. For the defensive situation here in Providence, you mentioned having a top 40 defense at South Florida. What does the mindset over here in Providence look like that you're going to bring from South Florida to help the defense out over here?
Yeah, just quite frankly, if you're not tough and you don't want to, if you don't want to sit on a guard at the defensive end, you can't play for me. Our motto is shrink and disrupt on that end of the floor. We want to be extremely disruptive. We were top 5 or 10 in the country in multiple defensive categories. That's not going to change. My assistant, Derek Rongstad, is our defensive coordinator. He's unbelievable. Finished, as of yesterday, I think the 39th ranked defense in the country in KenPom, number 1 in the American. That was against some good teams. So that identity is going to carry over. We start on that side of the ball and we build around that. But we're going to have really talented players. But at the end of the day, if you can't guard, you can't get on the floor. And so that's how we make our decisions as far as playing time goes.
Wow. He's relying heavy on defense. And you heard it there to directly quote him. If you can't go out and play defense, you can't play for me. And that's kind of like, I feel like a statement that's like, this is why we're getting Miles Bird, is because Providence was arguably one of the hardest teams to watch for defense-wise last year.
Yeah, I think they were outside the top 250 in defense on KenPom. So it's just like it was brutal. I think since Big East realignment in 2013, this was the Friars' best offensive team and their worst defensive team by efficiency standards. So, like, it was fun to watch them put the ball in the hoop, but like, damn, when you get on the other end of the court, like it was very tough to watch. But yeah, great question at the presser. I think you got a great answer out of coach, and yeah, he's going to recruit guys that can play defense.
Absolutely. And the next guy that because you guys actually had this happen live on Divine Providence.
Yep.
Hodgson's way is Morse code, basically, if you will. He puts a shark GIF on Twitter, and then in a matter of time, we get a new recruit. This one, I would say, was more shocking than Miles Bird because this is a professional basketball player. He played for the Westchester Knicks. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Dinkin' Donuts. Dinkin' Pate from the Westchester Knicks, who was an absolute dog. And Kyle, I'll let you get more into Dinkin' Pate, or Dink Pate, rather. The Dinkin' Donuts trend I saw on somebody changed their username to that in the PCBC, which, by the way, guys, if you are not part of PCBC on Twitter, what are you doing? It changed my life. It's changed my life drastically. But this guy, he's lengthy. He's athletic as hell. You know who he reminds me of that Hodgson once recruited? Lengthy, athletic as hell. Brandon Miller.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Dink Pate's a purebred scorer. You know, you could make the argument like, oh, well, he's already played pro. But having not played an NBA game and not exhausted any of his NCAA eligibility, I think it's just as good as you recruiting a guy who played overseas. You know, we saw Stefan Vox playing a Friars uniform last year. He had been playing pro for years in Estonia. It's the NBA is a much different world. The G League, I mean, I'm sure he's going to be making triple what he made in the G League in college. I mean, you could argue that's a step up in competition. But Dink Pate, I mean, he puts the ball in the cup, man. He averaged 16 points a game in the G League. He had one game, I forget who it was against, but his stat line, I believe, was 37, 13, and 11. So, I mean, this is a guy who can just flat out play. Did you know, actually, I saw someone say this somewhere. Dink Pate is younger than Jameer Jones. So Jameer Jones, who just wrapped up his freshman year, Dink Pate was, I believe, the youngest professional basketball player in America. He forewent college, went straight to the G League Ignite. I think he was 17 at the time. So, I mean, this is a guy who, like, yeah, you think, oh, well, this guy's played 3 years in the G League. He's got to be in his early 20s, like early mid-20s. Like, he's old. Like, get a job, dude. No, this is like this. I mean, he's the same age as a guy who just wrapped up his freshman year at Providence.
Yep. He is a 2-month margin compared to Jameer. Jameer is 2 months older than Dink Pate. So, you know, he has the overtime elite, I believe, experience as well in the G League thing. I know they do that, like the NBA elite or whatever it is. He has experience with that.
Ignite,
Yep. But on top of that, dude, like, you're getting a guy that's been in the G League with pros. He's faced people that are professional basketball players that are in the NBA now. For example, shout out Friar Josh Odoro last night, double-double against the Celtics. Love to see that. Devin Carter last night, 29 points. Highest stat line of his career in Sacramento. He's been there for about a year, we want to say, right? Yeah.
Almost done with his second season in the league, yep.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm excited for Dink Pate. I don't know why I keep saying Dink Pate, but it's like, we just had a Duncan Powell, you know, like, by the way, we don't like that guy no more after the news that came out, stuff like that. Lost respect for him, but that's just me. He did take out Bryce Hopkins. He took out public enemy number one, kind of like what's going on over in the other side of the world. Public enemy number one, if you know what I mean. Lower the damn gas prices. But bombshell. Like I said, Matt, fun glasses are on, brother.
Fun glasses. I'll throw the fun glasses on.
Yeah, here we go. Let's get into this. But yeah, we got to play Avid somehow, right? We all got to play Avid.
Yeah, got to find a way to pay Avid.
So here's the next thing that I want to talk about, because Avid actually was breaking this, and we know that there is another name linked to Brian Hodgson who we're hoping is our center for next season, Aiden Sherrill. We know Hodgson just had dinner with him, correct?
Yep, that is correct.
Do we think Sherrill is a Friar next season? Because this could possibly be the big men that we needed. Because, you know, here's the thing that's sad. We wanted Oswin to work out so bad. We wanted Oswin to work out more than we wanted to work ourselves. Okay? Straight up. We wanted Oswin to work out so bad because he was 6'10". He's a good shot blocker, and he's a great kid. I don't know if you ever got the chance to talk to him or meet him before. Great kid. Great kid. But then he leaves Providence and he goes and gets a bag from Creighton. Which, by the way, don't know why Creighton's in the Big East. They're in Nebraska. Not the closest thing to the East. But do you think Sherrill is a Friar next season, Mac?
Yeah, I don't know, Tyler. It's tough. In the transfer portal, things are moving so quick. I believe yesterday Hodgson had dinner with Sherrill, And throughout that day, and I think like at the time of recording, there's Zoom calls going on right now. Like there's still, 6 to 8 schools that are still in on Aiden Sherrill. Um, but these things change with the flow of the wind. We were supposed to have a commitment 5 minutes after um, the portal opened the other day, and that is out the window now. It looks like Wes Enos is um, looking elsewhere for NIL deals. But, you would assume the connection to Sherrill is there. He came from Alabama. Hodgson was an assistant at Alabama. He's friendly with the coaching staff there. And, this is a guy who, yeah, I think, he could benefit the Friars. But, he had dinner with Hodgson last night. He had lunch with Baylor earlier that day. He's got Zoom calls with schools like, Indiana, Michigan State, I think, is technically the front runner at the time of recording. So it's tough. The big man market is also super inflated. I would almost like to see the coaching staff say, hey, with how high numbers these big men are asking in the portal, take a step back, let the chips fall as they do, and then say, all right, let's reassess where the market's at, a week or two removed from when these big dogs are signing. Your Flory Badungas, your Oswin Arumses, who are getting almost $3 million was reported. I think there's better bargains you can get, and maybe guys who fit your system a little better later in the portal cycle.
And here's another thing, right? You got to remember, Cole Hargrove's gone. Oswin's gone. Right now, you don't have a center at all in Friartown. The next thing you have to technically get is a big man. You need a big man because we've got a scorer in Pate. We've got a incredible defensive talent in Miles Bird. We need that big man. If we get Aiden Sherrill, that's our big three. That's 100% our big three next season. Although I'm never going to count out Money Mila, Ryan Mila. Shout out Natick, Massachusetts. Ryan Mila is a dog. He might be, besides you, the coldest boy in New England.
Cold white boy.
Cold white boy. Like he might, Mike Edmond. I wish I could find the clip, but Mike Edmond once said something at a Providence Friars game, and I think we need to make this like an ongoing thing for when Ryan Mila just goes crazy. I think I got my swagger back.
Mm-hmm. That's one of my favorite clips ever. That was during the UConn game. I think we were up like 15 on UConn in the second half.
Yep, we were both at that game together.
Yep. I got that video of Mike, and that was just like pure, just serotonin, nirvana. Like we were on cloud 9, and it was the game right after we had just upset St. John's at the Garden. And it was just like, all right, season's back on track. Love that video, Mike.
That game was so frustrating to watch and be at.
Mm-hmm. Well said.
But the moment I realized that I belonged, let me put these on. Let me get deep. Like that shot of Drake on Views.
Then you ended up courtside with the fellas.
Yes, I went down to meet my other friends from Dean College. Shout out Ben. Shout out Gary. Shout out Aiden. Shout out Spencer. Go Bulldogs. Sometimes go Friars. More importantly. And I was like, I'm barely part of this. But then I'm sitting next to a legend on my other side, Vin Pontarelli. Dude, what a legend that guy is. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the most legendary community on Twitter. And for those people that are saying that Providence doesn't have fans, wake up because it's shark season.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well,
we're hunting. And I have no doubts in my mind. I'm going to make my jaw-dropping prediction right now. I think that the Providence Friars are going to be a Sweet 16 team next year.
Yeah, man. I listen, I don't think it's ridiculous to say. I think Hodgson was able to do damage at USF, and now you're basically tripling, quadrupling his resources. So it's going to be interesting to see what they're able to do. Year one, the expectation shouldn't be too high in year one under a new coaching staff, but with the transfer portal and everyone's really on a 1-year deal, it's kind of easy to flip things around. So it's it's not ridiculous to think this could be a second weekend team. But also at the same time, we still got to fill out like 10 more roster spots. So
This is true. This is true. Do we think we have a commitment Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday?
I think we have 3 by Wednesday. Post Dink Pate commitment, I think we have 3 by Wednesday. We'll say 3 by Wednesday. I think we get one before. I think we'll get one before the end of the weekend. And I think I'm not sure exactly when the transfer portal window closes to announce that you're entering the portal, but I think 3 by next Wednesday.
Wow. That was the moment for the gong right there. You looked like oddly, dude, your face was like, wait, huh? What's going on?
Yeah. I had to figure out what hill I wanted to die on, but we'll die on the 3 commitments by Wednesday hill.
Yes, for sure. Vox news. Let's talk about Vox. Nothing. Haven't heard about him ever since he entered the portal. There's been. Do we even know if he has offers yet?
Oh, I'm sure. He Vox, in most places you look, Stefan Vox is a top 10 ranked transfer. And obviously that's solely because of his offensive ability. That something like that probably wouldn't mesh well in a Hodgson style anyways. But yeah, he'll get offers. I know when he was deciding on Providence, there were other schools in the mix. There was Gonzaga, there was Arizona. I know him and Kim have a good relationship. So, if Kim English were to take an assistant coaching job somewhere at a high major, I wouldn't rule them out. So, yeah, it's there. I don't know if there's been any schools linked to Vox, but he'll get his he'll carve out a role somewhere good.
So obviously we know the Big East right now is kind of like in a little mixed thing because you have Creighton who's fully rebuilding. Providence, we're in a rebuilding stage, but we're also in Shark Week, so we're hunting everybody down. UConn is taking a step back because they're losing some people. St. John's is damn near losing their entire team, let's be honest. Also, FBH, you know the rules.
Well,
but excuse me. Do we think Providence is a top 3 team in the Big East realistically next season?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, there's still 10 roster spots to fill out. It's tough to really gauge what these teams are going to look like. But, with the start that Hodgson has gotten off to, recruiting-wise, the identity that feels like Providence is coming back with, you'd like to imagine he can get you to the top 3 in the Big East, but I'd be lying if I said that was like any kind of projection because we really don't know what the teams will look like in 8 months, 7 months.
It's to quote Morgan Wallen on the song Heartless about how we sit here when we're alone and, think about Hodgson and how the Friars are going to do. It's just one of those things that you do when you're lonely. It really is. It really is.
Well said.
I'm going to help you out for a second because you said you needed movie recommendations at the end of every podcast to do research and pull quotes from.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's see. What movie you got? I've been I've been picking back up on the Marvel universe.
Okay, so I actually got 3 recommendations: 2 Marvel, 1 movie. One actually, if you want to throw in 4, I got a series that you could watch. That's a great Marvel series. Loki on Disney Plus.
Okay.
It is literally, it explains how Loki is at the end of time. Now he is literally a god. He controls the timeline. Okay, insane. 2 seasons, you'll love it. Next one, I don't know if you've ever seen Black Panther.
Watched it last night. Wasn't the biggest fan.
Okay, so scratch Black Panther. Captain America Winter Soldier. If you just want straight fighting, great movie. Great movie.
That one was good. I'm a big. I'm, so far removed from the actual release. A lot of these big movies. I'm kind of
Yep.
forming opinions as I go. Big Captain America guy.
Okay. Civil War you'll definitely like.
Civil War was good.
Yep. Doctor Strange. Have you watched that one yet?
I've not watched Doctor Strange.
Watch Doctor Strange. It's great. Great story. Now, if you want a comedy to just absolutely like, feel like you can find several correlations and relations to the PCBC community in this movie, Central Intelligence with The Rock and Kevin Hart.
Okay. I'll have to look into it. I'll have to do my research. I'll report back on my findings.
Yes, definitely report back on your findings. But by the way, I also want to put this out there publicly because I don't know my outreach anything. Ella Langley, if you're out there listening to this podcast, I'm an Ella fellow over here. Okay. That is, I'm just putting it out there. Okay. Dude, I've been seeing.
Who is that? Is that a singer?
You've never seen Ella Langley?
No.
Dude, let me bless your feed right now. Okay. This woman probably has the song that I'm going to do a two-step with at my wedding when I get married. Okay. Dude, like this woman, McShane, is the most. Oh wait, no, hold on. I didn't do this. I'm still new to technology. I'm kidding. Who am I kidding? All right, here we go. This wouldn't be a PC basketball community podcast if we didn't sit here and bullshit half the time, because that's what we all do. That's what we all do. But
I looked her up. So yeah, hell yeah. Hashtag get Tyler to meet Ella.
Ella fella. Dude, there's literally there's a song she has called Choosing Texas, and it's amazing, by the way. Add it to the day, playlist. But there's a reel that this guy makes. He goes into bench pressing every day, right? And he's like, when I'm about to not hit my PR, but then I hear Ella Langley in my ear saying, "Come on, baby." Just starts going like this. Dude is like, yeah, I need that motivation in the gym. But I will tell you this. Back to Providence College while we're getting at this. I am willing to die on a hill right now saying that Miles Bird is going to be a better defensive player for Providence College than Devin Carter.
That's lofty expectations, but I think he's got the size to be definitely, all Big East defense.
Again, I'll say it again. Miles Bird is going to be a better defensive player than Devin Carter.
Hey. Yeah, listen, man. I hope you're right, and if you are right, your second weekend prediction is probably right as well. Because I think if Hodgson can get an elite defensive team, I think the points will come. I think Dink Pate can put the ball in the hoop. I think Ryan Mila is he provides you a safe floor scoring wise. And even Miles Bird, man, he took a step forward in his 3-point shooting last year. So hopefully, maybe the staff can get something out of him and carve out some sort of spot scoring role. Yeah,
definitely. I also got another Marvel movie for you.
Let's hear it.
Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Okay, I'll have to look into that one. I'm trying to follow the timeline right now, so I'm.
Oh, dude! If you're trying to follow the timeline, just go on Disney Plus and watch everything in the. They have a chronological order that you can watch everything in.
Oh, yeah. I was on Black Panther last night. That's why I was like, that's where I'm at. And then I think the next one is either Black Widow or one of the Spider-Mans. I forget.
Okay. But I will tell you this. Keep doing what you're doing with Divine Providence, brother, because this is one of the best things that we've ever seen in the Providence College community.
Thank you.
Shout out all the Providence College basketball community, because we put so much effort into just making it an enjoyable fan base, when, especially since last season, when there was a lot of dark, where we needed light. Especially because English class is over and Shark Week is in session. And speaking of sharks, I want to start a new trend, a new hashtag for this season.
Let's hear
You ready for this? Feast on the East.
Okay, I might have some legs.
You know,
You gotta test it out. You gotta. No pun intended, but you got to test the waters a little bit.
yeah,
And
definitely.
yeah, they might have some legs.
You know, I mean, if we can get it approved by Leb, we definitely know that it's going places. Leb is like the president of the Providence College basketball community. Dude, I will go to war for Matthew Leb. I will let me just put that out there. I will go to war for Leb. I will go to war for Mac. I will go to war for Carl, Crispy, especially Avid. We got to pay Avid. You know.
Yeah, no, got to pay Avid. But the feast on the East thing, I'll bring it to Leb's desk tomorrow morning, and we'll see if it's got legs.
Yes, Secretary of State over here, Kyle McShane, Mac. I'm also gonna give you another prediction. I think this could potentially be a team. Not even a team. I think this could be a coach that is more successful in his first 3 years in Providence than Ed Cooley was his whole tenure.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't think the bar is particularly high. It's really more so, how long does Hodgson stick around here? There were talks during search season. It's like, well, we want a coach that's going to stick around a long time. But if let's say Hodgson has a 3-year stint or 5-year stint here in Providence, and he takes another job, it's probably because he had success. Cooley can really hang his hat on a Big East tournament championship, a Big East regular season championship, and a Sweet 16, and that's really it. And if you're telling me 5 years from now, Brian Hodgson's the next head coach of Kentucky or North Carolina, like, he probably had some success. He took us to a couple second weekends. You know, ran things in the Big East for a couple years in a row. So I don't think Cooley set a particularly high and unattainable bar at all.
Yeah, I'm going to also drop another gong moment right here. Okay. A national championship will happen before we land on the moon.
Do the gong.
I'm saying it. The Providence College Friars will be national champions before 2028.
Yeah, no, Tyler, I have chills.
Hey, don't shoot me. I'm just the messenger.
Yeah, well said.
Mac is the one that is in the back of the theater. Dude, we totally lost the plot.
But yeah, Friars.
Yeah, Friar. Go Friars. I'm also going to give another prediction real quick. I think we see a world where the top 3 of the Big East is completely different than what it's been in the last couple of years. I think Marquette could very well be in there because the freshman they had last season, I forgot his name off the top of my head, but you probably know who I'm thinking of.
Nigel James.
Yeah, him. Great basketball player, athletic as hell for a short guy. I think Providence is going to be in there. I think we're going to be like that one, dude who's just on the street, just going like short jabbing, people. I think we're going to be in there. And then I also think Nova's going to be top 3 next year.
Well, all right. So Nova was top 3. They were the 3 seed last year. They were the 3rd team in the conference to make the tournament. However, I agree with you on Marquette and I agree with you on Providence. I think both teams can end up in the top 3. Villanova, at the time of recording, I think PC might have more players than Villanova on their roster right now. Everyone is in the portal. Kevin Willard's a great coach, but for some reason, they have all their key guys in the portal. I think a Caden Lewis might be going to Miami. You have other guys that are graduating. So Villanova, it's going to be interesting to keep tabs on what they do in the portal. Bryce Lindsey's in the portal as well. But yeah, I think, St. John's and UConn can only run the conference for so long, and it's only been 2 years. So, there's bound for some sort of mix up at the top. I think Nigel James coming back is huge. Shaka Smart will probably have to use the portal this year. And honestly, as crazy as it might sound, Richard Pitino laid the foundation in year one.
He did.
Like Xavier could be humming next year too, depending on what they look like. So
Now, let's test your ball knowledge. Most random Villanova player you can name off the top of your head in 3 seconds. 3.
oh, dude. All right, so this wait, time out. This is what you meant by a surprise.
Yes.
You had a surprise for me. Okay. Most random villain. See, like, is it got to be a role player or like just like an older guy who had played in the past?
Villanova basketball player.
I don't know. Randy Foy. I know that's not super random because he ended up going to the league and like had a career there.
Hey, you ready for mine?
Let's hear it.
Cam Whitmore.
Get on the baseline. Get on the baseline. You're in suicides too. Puke.
Hey, I could probably use it. No, in all fairness though, dude, I think Cam Whitmore's college career goes severely unnoticed. Just because he's kind of been irrelevant in the league more. But dude, the athleticism he had at Villanova was insane.
Yeah, I mean that year I thought he should have been a top 5 pick.
Yeah. I very well said. Very well said, sir. Hold on a second.
Yeah, no, I do remember him sliding a lot in that year's draft. Like I thought he was a lock to be at least top 10. And I think
Dude, he went
slid.
down, I think, to like either second or third round. Hold on, let me fact check this.
No, he was mid to late first. But I thought he was a shoo-in for like 5 or 6.
Oh, he was the 20th overall pick by the Rockets.
Yeah, so okay.
And now I think he's like, I don't even know where he is. I think Washington was the last place I saw him in.
Maybe.
But this has been, dude, we've been dragging this out, just bullshit in the last like 25 minutes of this. This is what you get now, folks, on the Swizz Sports Show, season 5. Okay, you just get Swizz, Mac. Hell, maybe we'll get Leb and Edmund on here one time, do a whole Swizz Sports Show.
Maybe. I do want to correct you. I don't want to correct you.
You're good.
It is pronounced Eamon. Just out of respect
Eamon.
for Mike, I gotta correct you right there.
Okay,
But
we'll get Mr. Eamon on this podcast.
Get the boys on here.
You know, get the boys on here, do a whole PCBC, Divine Providence for the sports show collab. Because you know the 1 year, hold on, let me think. Yeah, the 2-year anniversary of the show is coming up. No, 3-year anniversary rather. May
Divine
5th of the
Swizz
Swiss
Sports
Sports Show. 3 years.
Nice.
So might have to do a little add 3 guys to this podcast. You,
I'll see what I can do.
you know, man, and also we got to pay Avid. Hashtag pay Avid.
Well said.
You know, we got
can't get Avid in the portal. Cannot let him get to the portal. We got to pay him.
dude. If Avid gets in the portal, the world might shut down again. Like we might be back in 2020 if Avid gets in the portal.
I had someone text me last night, and they said if we lose Jameer and Avid in the same offseason, Providence will be in shambles. So
Yes, very well. You know what? To that guy, whoever said that. I will also say this: Swizz is going to be at Blue on the Water this summer. We're making this happen.
Whoa.
We're making this happen. No more SNL. We're going to Blue on the Water, the boys this season.
Hi,
Hey, how
Sumner.
are you? Hey, how are you?
Little East Greenwich send. All right, Ty.
Hey, my middle name is Michael. Your favorite artist is Mike. We're going to be waking up looking at the blue water.
Well said. Well said.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been season 5 of the Swizz Sports Show, the premiere, with Divine Providence's very own Kyle Mac McShane. Anything you want to leave these inspiring viewers with an inspiring message?
Yeah, go Friars. Go Friars. If you're not familiar with Divine Providence, definitely check it out. We like to have conversations like this, and we'll crack some jokes. And yeah, if you're not on Twitter, get on Twitter. PCBC is a great place. It's a bunch of rabid psychos. So if you're a Friars fan, that Twitter is the place for you.
Definitely, guys. Links for Divine Providence will be in the description to their Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. I know TikTok lacks a little bit sometimes. In my knowledge, from me lacking on TikTok, I know I lack on TikTok on my podcast page. I should have worded that right. My TikTok sports page, I mainly just post everything on my regular main TikTok. But yeah, guys, like and subscribe on this channel. Like and subscribe on Divine Providence. And again, if you start beef with Leb, Mike, or Mac, or any of the Divine Providence podcasters, I will find you. We will find you. We will take out your knees.
That's a movie quote. I know that.
Yes. Look at Mac learning. Look at Mac learning. And you know what?
Mm-hmm.
We'll take out your knees with a cricket stick.
Well said.
You know the cricket bats? Like the paddles?
Yes.
We'll hit you in the kneecaps with those.
Well said.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a fun episode. This is what we're going to try to do more here on the Swizz Sports Show. Make it more personable, not just all business. By the way, you can find me Monday night on Twitter over on the Sideline Sports channel. We're doing our WrestleMania prediction show. You can find me there Monday night on Twitter. Other than that, from Mac, from Swizz, from Ty Butter, if you will. Shout out T Butters, by the way. Great guy. Shout out T Butters. Shout out Brian Hodgson. Shout out Miles Bird. Shout out Dink Pate. Dink Pate. That is going to be this is going to dude, this is going to be a very for a man who has somewhat of a lisp, this is going to be very hard to. It's Dink Pate.
Well said. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Dude, this is why this is the best podcast ever. This is why Divine Providence, because the influence you guys have on. Dude, watching your episode last night, dude, I sat there and probably laughed for the majority of the hour and 40 minutes. It was hilarious, dude. And shout out, you know what? Random shout out of the day. Shout out that Aztec guy.
Yeah. Shout out Kyle with the Aztec Breakdown podcast. He gave us a little breakdown on Miles Bird, and it was, he did a great job. So shout out to the Aztecs over there in San Diego.
Yeah. Hey, and definitely let's link up soon. Let's do something Market Street, something like that.
Yes, sir.
All right, Friar, this has been a fun episode. I will have this up by the end of the day or first thing tomorrow morning.